Why are we here, Brad?
Why are we here? Well, Jesus, what a question.
Hello, everybody. As you may notice, the audio is not something that you are used to. Brad's laptop got stolen, and we didn't have enough time to back it up. However, we did think that this was a really cool conversation, so we decided to post it anyway. Enjoy.
Yo, this is kind of awkward in front of an audience, but it's true. Most of you know the Kaya Cafe spiel, so that's one reason we're here, is that the point of this space is to show off what's fucking excellent about the creative scene that we have in this city. And part of that is by doing every kind of event we can possibly throw at the space, one of which is going to be live podcasts, and we wanted to demonstrate it without any skin in the game other than our own podcast, instead of trying to do somebody else's. But yeah, and then it was Daisies this weekend, and Daisies was a lot of fun, but it's definitely in the media at the moment, so we thought, why not jump on it? No, we were all there. We all had absolute shitload of fun, some interesting experiences, and yeah, I wanted to talk about it and find out from friends of ours who were in various different capacities behind the scenes at the festival, what it was like for them as well, because I'm a nerd and I like finding out what went on behind the scenes, because I think that makes it all so much more interesting. So we've got a couple of performers here. We've got a sound tech, we've got a tour manager, so it should be fun. We're gonna... Oh, and a photographer. Yeah. To be fair, you are kind of sitting behind Jonah. I didn't see you for a second, but Mr. Berg is here, the OG himself. So I feel like we've got a fairly representative selection. What are we... Yeah, I know. I'm allowing pauses to let what I said just sink in. I've been watching TikTok videos. I'm trying to think how we want to... Guess who all went to Daisies?
Put your hands up.
Obviously. Okay, so fucking everybody's sick. Yeah, I mean, an incredible festival, biggest festival in South Africa, so that's dope.
Let's start with the crowd participation. Who wants to tell us what your favourite set was of the festival?
Ooh, that's a very good shout.
Thanks for confirming my podcasting skills.
Jono, what was your favourite set?
Manga K,
world class, to the highest degree. Not here, but he did just take a pair of pants from the cafe that he's going to wear tomorrow, so that's exciting. Bino, yours is biased, so it can't be Sabo perfect.
Exactly.
Other than that.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience the other sets because I just went there for Sabo, and then after that, it just can't. Yeah.
Fair enough. Man was moving different.
Gabbi, what was your favourite set?
Yeah.
Although someone's going to need to pass the mic.
Just directed towards the... Just directed.
I am DVP.
Oh. Was that on main stage?
Main stage.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and the brass band.
The Jägermeister Brass Hotel.
I
Yes.
fucking love the brass band.
Those dudes.
Everything it takes me.
Those dudes rock out. They were there bloody up the creek as well. Lesedi, what was your favourite set?
Your own.
You know.
I can't be biased. That wasn't, apart from Hannah's set.
Hannah's set was, for what we saw of it, which we'll get into.
Hannah's here in
but you were spectacular.
Probably Sun On Musicians, actually.
More
vocalistic,
Vocalistic was also...
Okay, Sun On vocalistic.
Okay, yeah. I think, Duri, what was your favourite set?
Okay.
Ooh, the English.
No. So, it's a problem. I had 2 black labels and now I can't speak English.
Annie had my first Irish coffee, which was also a bit strong.
You know what, for me, actually, I in terms of like the entire experience, very first set of main stage, honeymoon, because my personal experience is, I got there, we got set up, and then I went straight to the bar, found a place to sit down and just drink, and then wait for Honeymoon to come on. The moment Honeymoon was on, I was like, vibes, I'm getting off of this chair, kind of did a little bit of a two-step, ran straight to, main stage, front row, found you there, of course, you were there probably for the entire weekend. But, yeah, and for that, I feel like it was a very, very nice way to kick off the Daisy experience for me, aside from Beach Ball.
They were really good.
Gina, what was yours?
Besides some of the ones that we mentioned, NB Funk, we kind of stumbled into the Maybelline tent and the drumming.
That was one of
What did you bring out? Was it a trumpet?
Did he bring out a trumpet?
Did I make that up?
I think you
Well, the drumming.
The drumming. It's just the word was similar. No, NB Funk was quite the musical experience. Shout out NB Funk, he's also from Cape Town. Legend. Yeah, sure. Absolutely not my socks off. Ridiculous.
Brad, your favorite?
Other than, there were a few that have been mentioned, and I'm just at this point, because it's not my favorite, but I want to mention a few. Will and Lee was so good. It was just such a good performance. It was, and so cool to watch him do that. And just a very proud moment.
You could see Will was having fun.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Is you can see in
he was
the way
angel.
he reacted to the crowd and everything. He was like, "I'm so stoked to be here," and that is I don't want to say. A lot of people say his career came off of TikTok, but episode 4 of the CAYACast.
That's what made it. That's what really made it. Fuck his incredibly viral, great videos on TikTok. His was cool. And Matt Moll and Rob Spooner, just because they always just really, really deliver an incredible performance.
Ex-ambassadors.
Oh, that was out of internationals.
I was surprised. I know some of their songs, but seeing them live, the band was incredible.
The frontman was very sexy.
Very
we were all thinking it's okay.
The moment he lost the jacket, right?
Wow.
And you could see how ripped that guy was. And he made, he played saxophone, he made love to that saxophone in ways that
I forgot he
kind of made me feel things on the inside. So, ex-ambassadors, in terms of pure performance from international perspective, for me, that was
really?
It was a surprise.
Now we can title this podcast "Gone Sexual." So we've got the clickbait through. Kalani's performance was wild. Gabbi, that's going to be one to get into, and maybe that's actually a good segue. Gabbi, you want to? It's a horrible segue, but can we get into it? Fuck yeah, coming up. This is Gabbi. Gabbi is so many things. Sound. You're studying sound.
I will just do some.
You do it. It'll be a better
Who
job.
am I replacing?
No, there's a mic just for you.
Yeah, it's just
Sitting
the
especially.
Sorry, I'm just used to things being a little more cut first.
No, this is the place where you can join us.
Oh. Hello, Brad.
Hello.
How are
Welcome.
you?
I'm fucking wonderful. This is actually getting fun. Getting
I feel like
over the fact that
I'm on a TV show.
Yeah. That's fine, we'll get over it. Explain what you do and what you were doing in Daisies.
So, my name is Gabbi LaRue. Commonly confused with the guy who produced Mendoza's first album, not me. That guy's 56, he's also not my father. My name is Gabbi, I'm a music producer, sound crafter, member of a band, and at Rocking the Daisies, I was a production assistant for Bad Weather Productions.
Okay.
And essentially, basically playing the role of a stage assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you were on the main stage?
I was on the main stage for the majority of the festival.
We saw you.
Yes.
Dude,
I like to think that I was the cutest stage goblin there.
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
I appreciate that.
When did you arrive? Because I saw some Instagram stories from a long time before anyone
So
else.
I arrived on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In between.
To go to the grocery store to do some shopping for my very hungry teammates. Because burry roll for breakfast, lunch, and supper is not enough for some. It's enough for me, though.
And I mean, you were there literally. I mean, I saw some stuff on Instagram from like the beginning. Like there was basically nothing really there, and then you built the stages.
Well, I think the production team arrived after sort of the initial kind of festival grounds are laid out. So the main stage was all the scaffolding and stuff had been built.
Yeah.
And then basically, from when I was there, all of the lights and things started going up, the LED
So the full
panels,
rig.
like the full kind of like finishing of the construction. And then kind of as days leading up to the festival, Thursday was really hectic because obviously like now there's a limit on our time. People have been there for like 6 weeks, setting up stage, everything's fine. And then on Thursday it's like, forget yellow, ons moet nou show opsit. So I was doing everything from like building parts of the stage, to building risers, to setting up instruments, to checking lines, rolling cables. I was even hanging up like fake plants on the main stage.
I saw that.
Thanks for helping
nice
with the
job.
jungle. Appreciate it.
So yeah, I just jumped in there. It's my first time like working on such a big project, and it was really cool.
What was it like organizationally from the experience of being a part of the setup of what is the biggest festival in the country?
Well, I mean, like I very much came in blind. I was a little bit scared because like I, again, have never been part of a production company like on this scale. I'm used to kind of organizing events and organizing people on a smaller level. But what really stuck out to me actually was that like everybody on site has got a specific goal to meet like by Thursday night. And it doesn't matter who the fuck you are and what the fuck you're getting paid. I was getting paid nothing because intern, but I worked my ass off.
Everybody been there.
So hopefully I'll get something out of it. But like literally, if someone doesn't get lunch on time and they're grumpy and they don't do a good job on the scaffolding, like that shit's gonna fall down. Like it's every single person on this massive production and every single job that they do is really important. Like even the stupid small things like getting people lunch or like making coffee.
Food is alive. It's not.
I learned that a production company is only as strong as its coffee.
Well, cheers to that. Cheers with Lucy, isn't it?
I went outside.
It's fine. This is compliment. It's okay.
Lucy's coffee, everybody.
Yeah, shout out Lucy. Yeah, sure. That sounds like actually the most, like I would have loved to do that.
It was really fun.
It sounds like
yeah, and it actually like everybody's really nice because you kind of have to be. Like you can't really afford to be an asshole. So like I didn't get shouted at once. Everyone was just like, wow, you're being so helpful. You're not even getting paid. And I'm like,
it's difficult to shout at them. To shout at them who aren't being paid. You don't really have enough to stand on. But yeah. Okay, that is a motorbike. I thought that.
is there a ghost in the podcast?
Yeah, no, it just sounded like it kept happening as my voice happened, and that was weird. Did you meet any of the artists? Were you on stage, interacting with people? What was it like? What was the best interaction you had with an artist?
So I basically, particularly on the Saturday, it seemed like there was, in the green rooms, like no one was sending out the artists on time, so I ended up being the person who would go down from the main stage like 15 minutes before they're supposed to go on and be like, hey guys, transition time's coming up, do you guys want to mosey on up here? Like who's essential, who's not, because also everyone wants to bring their friends on main stage, but we got like 6, 7 like massive moving risers, different drum kits set up and stuff. We can't like actually afford to have anyone on stage who's not like supposed to be there. So I'm trying to be as nice as possible and tell like Nasty C, hey man, I see you with your crew of like 30 hot people.
Hoping we have an
but like
entourage.
the VIP lounge is over there. Can I just get the main peep? You can bring your bottle of Hennessy, it's fine. But up the ramp, babes, please stay outside of the lights, right? Go. You have 45 minutes. Like, that was my job for the Saturday.
That
was
sounds
cool.
That's a cool
What was the experience? Because you also experienced the festival, right? So because I know you guys did get breaks, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you have to stay like quite sober and quite like about it.
On call.
Again, being an intern means that you're trying to like impress impress the paying man, so I was very careful not to like be seen drinking. Had a little bit of fun. Just a bit. Nothing crazy. Mainly I got my kicks out of standing in the line for the Red Rocks tent for the free pancakes, because all the wasted people there, they're fucking hilarious.
we did a Red Frogs for a pancake.
Oh god.
Yeah,
it's so good. You guys should do a Red Frogs Daisies podcast.
They've seen
stories from the Red Frogs.
Oh my god, you're so right.
This man comes up to me thinking that I work there, like with the straightest face in his life. He tells me, "Hey, do you guys do gluten-free pancakes?"
Welcome to the biggest festival in South Africa in Cape Town. Very obviously.
It's so funny because they have what they call the safe space. And it's like where all the people where the pancake didn't work. And the pancake didn't fix everything. And you go behind, there's a tent of just bodies, like layers
of my angels.
No, dude, there's also like the photo backdrop, Red Frogs, nice, whatever, on the stretch tent. And there's like where the stretch tent like dips. And behind the wall, there's like a little alcove, and we just saw paramedics at one point just like bundle a guy in. You can't like enter standing. You have to like crouch and get in, and this dude was not capable of crouching and walking in a straight line. And they just bundle him into this like dark back of the Red Frogs corner, and you have to wonder what the hell goes on in
into the void.
Yeah,
the last one true.
Yeah, has anyone seen him since? I don't know.
That's actually, I think, a good segue because speaking of like drunk 19-year-olds, I think this was a lot of people's like first ever big music festival.
It was our first Daisies.
Really?
Our first Daisies.
I will say, really, I would say going back to the like stages and the set, it being like my first big like multi-day festival, it was really cool. I felt like I was walking into like different worlds.
Yeah,
Nice.
The production was like the production of the show was incredible. Like, or at least what we saw from an audience perspective. I'm aware that there were complications, as there always were. No shade. There's always complications. Yay, Alex came. Sick. Hello, Alex. There's always complications. No shade, but we're definitely gonna get into that. It was our first Daisies. Yeah, our first Daisies. And
First festival?
No.
First Daisies.
Done festival. I think it was it might have been the biggest.
This is genuinely the first Daisies.
Yeah, dude.
The main stage was the biggest non-permanent stage that's ever been built in Africa. Yeah, like the whole time.
It was all Gabbi.
I built it alone.
Just from Tuesday, Gabbi just put the whole thing
I burned it from my
There was no
furnace of societal hatred.
You got lunch for the people you were hallucinating.
just from pure exhaustion and heat. Do you have a question?
Yes, but I forgot about it. I forgot what the question was.
Well done. Congratulations.
But like, so, and then versus the experience of the festival from, the spectator point of view. What's it like being, on stage and behind the artist? I mean, Lorcan also kind of experienced it, but, looking at the performance kind of from like the behind the scenes aspect, but also then just seeing like the crowds of people and stuff. What's the, I'm trying to put the question into actual words, but what was that experience like?
So I think like because I was on site from Tuesday and I kind of saw like the build up towards like what we were building towards, you can't like really visualize the big picture until everybody arrives. And when everyone started arriving on Friday, I was also working on the main stage, and it's sort of like, it's not a big deal to you because I'm like, I've been sound checking with these artists, like actually like most of the artists and especially their bands, usually like the actual singer doesn't pitch up for sound check, but the musicians and stuff that I did meet in the international bands and the local bands, all of them super, super really nice people and just very, very normal and very human. Like I met Kalani's drummer and bassist on the Saturday morning. I don't think
he's bassist.
That was exciting.
We stole my beating heart. you know, and I was just like, oh, like sick. It's rad to have like more women on the stage because for the majority of the festival, especially until the artist got there, I was the only person with a vagina working on the
Just to make you
stage.
feel better, the Daisies was predominantly women, and like a lot of ladies behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The whole show.
But I mean, like on the stage
Like the
itself,
production,
doing
yeah.
like on the main stage, people working that, like in terms of the engineers and the production company, it's just all men. And so, you know, I start seeing like women like walking in with their instruments, fiddling around with things. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, I'm Gabbi. And like, you know, then I go to see Kalani. I'm like, oh shit! Like I just smoked a joint with the drummer, casual.
That's so cool. That's way better than just I met the drummer. That's the story.
Well, it's like you also like for me, I don't know, but celebrity is like a fake thing. Like another person is just another person. And I think the worst thing that you can do, like to someone who's famous, is to like treat them like they're not a person anymore. Like they're a commodity. And I just try to be like. Reg and ordentlik with like everyone that I meet, and I think people appreciate that. So
that's a really good point that I think people don't like talk about enough. Is like, and it's been my experience as well meeting those kinds of people, and it's just going, oh, the fact that I didn't like freak out and go like, and you just have a conversation with them and say, hey, like I really enjoyed that thing you did, like thank you. Just the fact that you were talking to them like a human being. Like just completely de-escalates the whole thing, and then you actually get to have a conversation with them, and they'll probably remember it so much more, and it'll mean so much more to them just that you would like treated them like a human being and respected them for what they're doing.
Well, it doesn't really matter if it means that much more to them because like they're another human being. They may play bass or whatever for like a big band in the world, but ultimately like. If I was Britney Spears and I went to the grocery store, like that shouldn't be a big interaction because it's someone going to a grocery store, you know?
Yeah.
And I think like we have this big like idolization problem where we like when people get money and fame, we like tend to see them as like either means to an end for our own personal clout or just like not as people anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that's kind of weird, like you know. If someone's being cool to you, and like it's not that important, it's probably not going to remember me, but I made the experience a bit better.
That's what I mean. Like just
like you probably shouldn't get so excited that you feel the need to choke Kalani.
Did anybody see that?
No one seen the video.
So Kalani,
when she went down to like the.
I saw the videos. It's about.
Because like then she came back on stage and she was like, "You're wild."
Like this.
So
that's assault.
So you can.
That's assault. Do you see what I mean? Like celebrities or human beings. Just because someone is on stage, like doesn't mean that you can touch them. I mean, like also as a musician, like you know, it is weird getting mobbed by people the minute that you're off stage. It's just like give me some space. You know, so I just try to.
That Kalani incident, for those without the context, she went down to the crowd and like was obviously singing and interacting with the crowd, all very cool, love that. And subsequently video surfaced because they caught it on the camera because obviously they're filming Kalani down to the crowd, and you can literally see someone's like hand come over her shoulder and kind of try to wrap around her throat. And she like pulls away, and then she came up on stage and she was like, "Y'all are wild! Someone just tried to grab my throat," and she is not exaggerating. Like that full on happened, and it goes like, "What the fuck? No!"
I think it happens a lot to female performers. I just don't think like a lot of people talk about it.
Well, let's talk about it. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like the minute you go up on stage, it's like cool. It's a free for all. Like. I don't know.
That's our big international headliner. You just simply cannot.
I just want to meet the person who had the nerve.
Do that. Well, you can probably see their face on camera.
Get them fired.
They're gonna listen. Lorcan's trying to cancel the fuck out of people out here.
Lorcan's starting a mob.
Lorcan just wants some mob.
Leave Kalani alone.
Mob justice.
I mean, speaking of, Lord Mr. Lorcan, I think I'm gonna give him the opportunity to actually sit in my seat because you guys are having such a brilliant conversation. And we're gonna hot swap this because I feel like it's a more fun way to keep it engaging. And
Yeah.
Go Berg.
come on, Mr. Lorcan, photographer. Featured on everybody's stories after Daisies. What that for
This t-shirt says Fox.
Fox by shirt, Fox by name.
I can try. Give me a hot one.
Very nice. Okay, cheers everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
Jack.
Enjoy,
Not that bad.
Gemma.
Thank you, Gina.
Wow, you think for shit.
Honestly, I support his commitment, boy, because I've never had commitment to Jim.
Boo.
You were turning down the aircon on me.
I'm trying.
How was your Daisies experience? Tell me about it.
I was really sober the whole time, and that's just because it's really
Same.
difficult to walk from where you are to the bar and back.
Amen.
When you're drunk, you run.
You see, I never got to that point, so I was like a little bit relaxed, like. Anyway, I fucking loved it. It's just my feet though.
Were you in the Spotify VIP lounge?
No. Ooh.
I did go in. I had a pasta dinner attack.
Oh, nice. I got
No.
that place was a lifesaver.
I didn't have that wristband.
Aw.
Wristband.
Should have come talk to me, honey.
Next time. Actually, the moment that we did see you was because I was into Brad while like all the.
Was it during Munga's set?
I think
no,
so.
it wasn't. No.
I think I saw you then.
No, it wasn't. No. I mean, the time.
It was after Honeymoon, definitely.
Yeah, I think
But what
eyes
what other stuff? When were you on main stage other than that?
I mean, I was working on main stage for Saturday morning, and then Friday morning and Friday evening, and then Saturday pretty much throughout the day until about 6.
Well, whenever it was, just before we saw you, I was like had the stage crew like so male. I was like. Anyway, but I didn't want to be that person pushing the like thing because I felt like hell.
Yeah.
But then Brad was like, "Oh, there's Gabbi, like, you know, representation." I was like, "Okay, what do you mean?"
I don't think
see one person. You don't remember that? But Brad obviously was there so
I was like, oh, hey, Gabby.
I'm representing the elf gender.
Amen to that.
Sorry, I'm kidding. Don't worry.
I'll look at the rest.
You're just representing not a man.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, like I, with my tiny female brain, I also know how to plug in cables, guys.
Yeah, that incredibly
Crazy.
complex technical ability.
This thing has
So,
wheels.
like, yeah, people need to give,
And
that being
handles.
said, people need to give way more props in general to tech crews
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the time.
Definitely.
because
I think we only had like
They make it happen.
maybe like 3 artists who were like, thanks to the sound people, you guys are amazing. Because yeah.
We are strong advocates here for being nice to the sound guy.
Yeah, be nice to the
nice
sound guy.
Sound guys, people don't understand. Sound guys make or break the performance.
Okay,
They
unless
control
the sound
everything.
guy's being an asshole to you, and then I advocate for
Yeah.
being an asshole to
Yeah,
yourself.
100%. But generally they would, and they control everything, so be nice to them.
Yeah.
Quickly, one question was about, there were a couple of times, and I'm calling out a issue that we noted on main stage. There were a couple of times that the mics for the vocalist weren't coming through, the monitoring just wasn't happening. Were they just, because I know this also happened, were they just being prima donnas? Obviously sometimes it didn't come through the house enough, and that's just like getting the level up. But like the artists, sometimes people are just prima donnas about their mix when they get on
No,
stage.
not really. I couldn't hear the vocals.
No, I'm saying sometimes people are, so I'm asking what was happening there, because there were a couple of times.
So the majority of the time when you have an international band, you'll basically have in-ear monitors in the ears of the artists, right? And we had our in-ear monitor system set up, but then a lot of artists bring their own ones, right? And then that has to connect over to our in-ear network and transmitters. And so because there's only a small changeover time, like 15, 20, 30 minutes at most, all of this stuff needs to happen. Takes a little bit longer to sort that out, but also like, look, running gigs is like, you always have to expect something to go wrong. Someone will step on a cable, someone will miss something, a microphone will just suddenly just decide, hey brother, like I'm taking the day off.
I don't work.
And So the sound guys have to be really on it, and I think a lot of the international, look, I'm in a punk band, like I don't care as long as I can sort of like hear what I'm saying. Like it's more important to me that like my audience is having good sound than to have like good sound on. As long as I can kind of hear what's going on, it's fine. But I think a lot of the international artists are obviously like expecting a much higher quality, and I think also when they're in Europe or in America or wherever, they have specific tech teams that they work with that mitigate a lot of these issues, who know their setup. But obviously they come out to South Africa, you're not going to bring like your entire production crew, right? Because it doesn't make economic sense. So I think that's also like a bit of context to go in there. But a big festival like Daisies, there's so many moving parts. So-and-so, went back up to base camp to take a shower, and he's taking a bit long because the line's long, and now he's our in-air guy, and he's the only one who knows how this works, and it's, every tiny little problem becomes an eventual shit show.
Yeah.
So I think that was...
And it's the golden rule of production: what can happen will happen.
High stress job.
Yeah. It'll just...
Amen.
Yeah, something will end up going on. Mr. Berg, you were also on and around the stages quite a good deal.
I was.
Did you see Gabbi? You would have seen Gabbi.
No, I did. I saw Gabbi during Mr. Will Lidney's performance. I think that was
I let you
our
onto the
second
stage.
time. Yes, you
because
did.
You had a press pass.
I did.
You're a menace as well.
I was.
Let's not forget that.
I think I'm going to tap this brother.
Tap Bino in. Tap Bino in. Yeah, do it. Thank you so much, Gabbi. Thank you for all the work you did to make it such a beautiful experience.
I'll see you guys soon, yeah?
We'll see you.
Thank you for coming through.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bino.
I might ask
Yeah.
a male-bodied person to walk me to my car.
Duty.
There's a...
Can I
Elect Security.
I'm of male and of body.
Can you make sure my phone doesn't have to take a bio out of this?
It's up to some.
We've got some Ferrari.
It's our learning point, but...
Yeah.
New Kaya business venture, dirty walking people to their cars.
Shame, that feels very exploitative, just in a whole load of ways.
So, he's not security.
Not providing enough multifaceted. Bino, quickly, before we get things going, will you introduce yourself and what you did at Daisies?
Okay, cool. My full name actually is Simbongile, was the name, but I just go by the name Bino. It's a street name just made up for myself since high school. It's stuck. I made it up myself, yes.
Yeah, nice.
And at Daisies I was doing tour management, local tour management for an international act, which was one of the headliners.
Say his name.
What was it?
Come on.
Saba.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was doing like local tour managing for him in terms of as soon as he lands, I'm the one who shows him around the country, the do's and don'ts, pretty much literally his guy in South Africa, throughout his stay. Luckily enough, I got to experience more of the Daisies from Cape Town and Joburg as well, which was like fucking crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing at Daisies.
Wow, what an intro. And you would have. Did you shoot Saba's set?
No, I enjoyed that. I was in the crowd. I was in the crowd with my beautiful girlfriend and a crowd of people who we love, and it was beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I was photographing that, I didn't want to overdo it because I was there with my girlfriend. I was there with friends. Like I bought my ticket before I'd even gotten hired, so I was there to experience the festival. It was nice to shoot, but I wanted to have a good balance. And I mean, I just had one of the best experiences of my life shooting Bob Dad. That was, and so I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go put my cameras away, get my girlfriend. We're gonna watch Saba together. So it was a really nice kind of like balance. Obviously, I would have loved to have photographed Saba.
You got to watch it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not nice, I'm not gonna lie. It's great being behind the scene and so forth. but being in front of the person and watching them interact with the crowd is kind of different.
So the perfect example of that would be when Buddy came out for Grub Dad's performance, and they split the crowd like the Red Sea. And I was with my friend Gillian, and we were in the wings, and I was like, do we go? Like, this is gonna be like a once in a lifetime experience. Like, do we just like sprint our asses around the stage and go join it? And we were like, nah, let's stay. And it was still great to be in that perspective, because it's not every day where you find yourself on stage at the largest music festival in Africa and you're like, holy shit. But like, it's also amazing to be in the crowd. So I think it was nice to have that kind of duality of the experience where I was able to have that experience and still have that experience. So yeah.
You see, with me, it was kind of different. There was no duality at all. It was just like, you go there at a certain time, you have to be there at a certain time, and if the artist decides, yo, I'm done with my performance, I just want to go home, you have to go home.
And you have to be the guy that tells everyone that.
And you're like, hey, that's a great decision, man.
It wasn't like a huge team, it was like a team of 5, but like everything was just like in order, like in play, like, okay, cool, we just finished performing, and Sam was performing like, was the last performance.
On the Friday.
So as soon as it was done, we tried to catch the Joe Case at the Maryland stage, but at that time when we realized like, nah, we're not gonna make it. So ended up going back to the hotel, got back at like 5 a.m, had to catch a flight at 7 a.m, so I didn't sleep. But yeah, it was fun though.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, because you, I think, are in a unique position here where you experience both the Cape Town and the Johannesburg Rocking the Daisies. Can you point out a few of the kind of highlight differences? And it could be highlights, it can be lowlights, but what was kind of the different experience? Because it looked like, obviously, I don't want to say it looked like a bad experience, but it looked like a very different experience. Obviously, it was one night, it's on a Sunday, it was during the day, but the energy seemed really, really, really good. So I'd be interested to know what's your perspective?
I'd say the thing with the Cape Town one, it's 3 days for one. So there's always that mindset of people of accountability of like, okay, cool, if I miss Friday, I'm gonna catch a Saturday, you know? Whereas in Joburg, it's like that one day, I gotta be there, I have to be there on time, whatever happens.
Have to bring the energy as well.
So exactly. Whereas like in Cape Town, the energy was also kind of, I don't want to say all over the place, but it was just like, you're here at this stage, you want to go catch the performance in that stage, you want to do that. Whereas in Joburg, it was like, I'm here, Joe K is going to perform here, 5 years going to perform here, Sam's going to, everyone's going to perform here, you know?
Nice.
So you don't have to like, kind of time yourself, like I have 30 minutes to go get a drink, and if I'm not here,
it's fucking tight.
Exactly. So it was, even like from the bar perspective, you can be by the bar and still see Sam performing or whoever's performing past, you know. So that's one thing that I'd say was a difference in a way. And also I'd say like that's where the energy comes from in Joburg. You know, like the energy came from like, this is one day I gotta make it count. And yeah.
I feel like that may have also been, like this is just figuratively speaking, this is just from what I saw, it seemed like there was almost like a bit of competitive energy, because they'd seen over the weekend the Cape Town Daisies are 3 days, they're like, right, we've got 1 day to top it, let's bring it to the max.
Necessarily, like to me it was, most of the artists, I met them, I interacted a few chats with them, but predominantly they were like, as same as I was saying, like in terms of like it's a 3-day thing, it's a 1-day thing. So everyone went in the high energy. So most of the artists were like, damn, Joburg has energy, you know?
Let's bring that.
Excuse me. And whereas when they got to Cape Town, they probably like performed the second day, and then people are just tired from Friday. They're like hanging, you know? So it was a thing like that Josie was like high in energy, but Cape Town came with like the deliverance in terms of people on every fucking stage. Like each stage you went to, you just got there and it was like,
people,
how am I going to get to the front? You know, type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty much that, man. But it was a solid one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap out with Dury.
Yeah.
Okay, Dury being tapped back in.
So yeah.
Thank you, Gina.
I might tap back in, but
When you decide you've got
also
that.
anyone can order coffees.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, feel free.
I actually want to give a little bit of an anecdote that I just like, as you're talking about the bar and your timing and everything, right? Main stage, Cape Town Daisies, obviously. Main stage bar was a huge bar, right? It was obviously like all the headliners at main stage, and it was very busy. However, right, way to the left, I found out there was this little alcove of where all the Afrikaans bartenders were gathered. And they were always quiet for some reason, because it's furthest away from like gin camping, it's like furthest away from the food that's next to main stage and everything. So I went there and I'm like, hey guys, what are your names? Listen, if I come later and I order a brandy and coke, I need an Afrikaans brandy and coke. And like I found out the one guy went to like the same high school as I did. He was just, he only,
That's what you were the whole fest.
guy only went to high school after I left high school, and now he's a bartender at Daisies. I was like, oh shit, I'm getting old. So it's, and I'm like, I'm gonna come to you. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna come to you for my brandy and coke. And he's like, I got you. And I came to him, ordered a brandy and coke, and guys, if I tell you, I think there was probably this much coke in that entire.
A double coke and brandy.
It wasn't. Yeah.
A single coke and brandy.
That's what I didn't know it's about the bar, but I just need to get out because otherwise I'm gonna get it. It's like finding those little fest, little tricks. Which
Shout out to the bar staff. Sorry, shout out to the bar staff.
Yeah.
Shout out to the bar staff, please, because they had to put up. I know what my experience was. At some points, I was a little bit not safe to order, but they must. And but the thing is, I actually managed myself quite well for the whole festival. I was working a lot of the time. I didn't.
He went, I'm going to roll this back really quickly.
No, I felt like the energy it gave you such a buzz that you did. Like if I go to a nightclub, look, I'll drink a lot because it's fun. Sometimes you got it. But at Daisies, I felt like there was such a buzz, like just naturally, just in the air. The energy was so like infectious that I didn't find myself like needing to get a drink. I'd like get one drink and that would sort me for like an hour, 2 hours, and then maybe I'd get another one just now. But like, yeah, shout out to the bar staff.
I don't know your experience, but I did not have a single bad interaction with any staff at Daisies.
No.
I didn't.
Except for getting my media pass. That was a fucking nightmare. But anyways, sorry.
So what I did want to ask was, from your experience, so you were representing an artist. So you were coming kind of from the outside into the organizational structure of the festival, right? What was your experience dealing with the stage staff, the hospitality staff, whatever, at Daisies as the artist or from the artist's perspective? Because I know I've had conversations with artists subsequently who didn't have all that completely positive an experience, and I think it's important that we talk about that because, and I want to preface this like I'm not shit talking Daisies in any way, but it wasn't perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. So yeah, I think it's important that we have the conversations about what could be improved.
We're not here to just gas it up.
In the interest of helping everyone have a better experience next time.
Well, from my side, I was predominantly like on the artist side. So anytime they needed anything, I had to communicate that. In regards with my thing, it was I have to take them 2 hours before time on the set. They have to be on set 2 hours before time. They have to be in the private room. They have to be on stage, like next to the stage, 30 minutes before, So I had to ensure those measures in terms of hospitality and other things. That was sorted already. I'm not gonna lie, their shit was like on par. Like the artists got there, the green rooms were ready, private rooms, whatever, and they had everything they needed there. They spent like 1 hour, 30 minutes before the performance, and then they just went to the performance, did the performance, got done, and then they decide after that what they want to do. From that, like the flow of the event was like very easy. There were no hiccups. I'd say like, oh shit, we're running behind this, oh that sound. Nah, we didn't have that. Because so I was performing on the Heineken stage, which is predominantly like where all the Daisies was called like the trap stage or the hip hop
stage.
Yeah, so that was like predominantly hip hop stage, and everything was like flowing very nicely. I got there, bumped into Lorcan, I bumped into a lot of like vocals I saw. But I kind of had to keep a straight face because I was still on the job. But regardless though, everything was flowing. One thing I'd say, like one of the artists mentioned, I remember Buddy mentioning it in Joburg. It was one thing this festival needs is just food. Like rotating throughout these artists, like caterers just carrying food. I get you, but not like rotating like the whole time, but like. Yeah. But the food, like, I'm not saying like there was no food, though. Like if an artist,
there was like a lot of food trucks, but like, I was backstage. There didn't seem to be, apart from the Spotify tent, like at the Heineken stage especially, there was like a fridge with some Heineken. Yeah. There was no like catering anywhere near the stage.
Because predominantly they are set up with their tech riders. So where they get their tech riders is where they'll get their food if they order food from the day.
Yeah.
So if they want anything else, they just have to mention to their tour manager that we'd love to get some pizza here, and then the tour manager is responsible, which is what I was doing,
Which is you.
Then yeah.
On the topic of tour managers, I actually have a question. I'm not sure, so obviously, especially all the international artists, they all have a tour manager, I'm assuming, right? I don't know how many of the other tour managers you interacted with, but you were representing Saab, who seems like a genuinely lovely person, like through and through. He seems like a great guy. But obviously, all artists are different people. You've got someone like Buddy, who has really high energy, crazy guy, incredible to work with, but probably a bit tricky to be a tour manager for. Yeah. Did you interact with any other tour managers, and what were some of the kind of like stories that like stuck out to you?
For one, also like Saba had his own tour manager because he was on tour before he came to South Africa. So he was already on tour for the past 2 months. This was his last show. So yeah. That's why like things on my side were like smooth sailing, but in regards to the other guys, they weren't like doing tours. They just like, yo bro, Africa's calling, they need to touch Africa, So I'd say one thing that stuck out is, for one, homies like Buddy.
Buddy's like Clayman.
Like guys like Buddy, Baghdad, they were very like fluid with people. Like they didn't give like an F about who you are or whatever. If you popped up to them like, yo, I want to make a video with you, they're like, yeah, let's go, And then there were artists who were super cautious, like Fabio, who had like 4 or 5 security guards just like around him and had this whole crew around him. So
that's New York to you, baby.
Yeah. And I mean, Bas is also from New York, but you didn't see Bas moving like that. That's another thing, So it's just about like.
I was a South African.
I bet that guy on the waterfront at the end.
So it's like things like that. It just depends on the artist and how they feel and how they, I don't know, like how they are or how they respect or I don't know, man.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, exactly. Because for one, Buddy's a very like humble guy.
Yeah.
No, Saba. That's fine. Saba's a very humble guy, easygoing, down to earth. And one thing I picked up from him is that he's experienced a lot. So therefore is like super cautious about who he lets in his space, like who he interacts with and so forth. To some extent, like I was questioning myself, like there's Buddy, there's name, like there's a lot of artists that don't have security guards. He had a bouncer, so I was like, why do you have a bouncer? Like, not that you're not a big deal, you are, but why do you have a bouncer? But it was to protect your space. Yeah. So that like not just any random person
can infiltrate it.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a random who might say some dumb ass shit about his like old album. You dropped a shit ass album, making a video for TikTok, just So he was protecting his space in terms of that. Even people like he bumped into on a regular day when I was talking remember went to Sunset Rocks, So there's this guy who came through and he was like with his girlfriend and he's from Sabah and he was like, yo, can I please take a picture with you? And I could see his bouncer kind of like reacting like they had like their own way of speaking, like, yo, is that cool with you? You sure? And then he was like, nah, he's like, and they took a picture. So it's certain things like that and I feel like things like that kind of increase the value of an artist to some extent. I hate the phrasing I'm putting right now, but because the more you're reachable, the more someone feels like they know you already. Like, if they interact with you, like the people who took pictures with Buddy and they interact with him, they feel like, yo, Buddy's my friend.
Yeah.
Excuse his name, Big Buddy.
Yeah. He's not your friend. Buddy's my buddy.
So, and also with guys like Saba, like there are people till to this day, they're like, fuck, he was here, I saw him, but I couldn't reach him. Mm-hmm. So that draws you to more in terms of, at some point when it comes back again, I want to talk to you, I want to have this interaction,
Exclusivity almost.
Yeah, you know, so that's low-key kind of a thing we start to mention my brand what we do with Rogue. You know, with the cabs, and it'd be like, we're dropping 50 only.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, yo, why 50 only? Because we want you to want more. We don't want you to.
And if you have one, then
you know
exactly. If you got it, you got it.
You got
if
it.
you don't have it, sorry, you have to wait for the next time. If there is a next time, you know, because there's no guarantee to that. So that's what I like pretty much.
By the way, very good inspiration.
Looking at amazing. Amazing.
You gotta shout out the bit. You went for the shameless plug first. I was just following up.
We had to.
I was just following up this plug. Yeah. You did up wide open.
Thank you. Shout out to the Broke Boys.
Amen to
Shout
that.
out to the Broke Boys. And rest in peace, the Clubhouse.
No, not rest in peace.
Not rest in peace. Not rest in peace.
It's like
in a coma.
An evolution, basically. You're not. Clubhouse is not dead. It's still there.
Yeah.
Just moving.
Yeah.
Amen to that. That's very exciting. I can't wait to hear what's
gonna be crazy.
We can't wait to see what's crazy.
It's gonna be a crazy summer. It's cool to talk to you about David.
Not really yet, because I haven't seen him like in 2 days or 3 days yet.
Oh yeah.
And the last time we saw each other.
Yeah. We're having a meeting next Tuesday. We're gonna have some fun.
Keep the business off the pod.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was checking whether you found out. I was also doing a shameless plug. Leave me alone.
Yeah, we have a meeting with Kumar.
What was the most interesting experience you had taking Sabo around South Africa, as opposed to being on, like, at Daisies, like at the festival? What was the most interesting thing you noticed with an international artist in South Africa?
Firstly, like, one thing I realized, it was always like a thing that I was spoken about, but African Americans love their chicken. I don't know, it's probably like Sal's group, but predominantly they all like fucking chicken, peri chicken. They're cool with Nando's. Nando's is like standard cool, but they wanted like those African, like South African, and also they were so fascinated by how real the chicken was. Because they're like,
I don't doubt that.
Because they're all complaining about like, yo, you get a drumstick and it looks like the size of your arm, you know. Whereas where you get it like a chicken, you feel like, yo, this is a real chicken, you know? Yeah. So they love the chicken. And also one thing, like, there was something I had a conversation about, like the misconception of, you know how the African American artists, when they come to South Africa or any African country that is, they just like, yo, I'm in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm in Africa. And then every person who lives in that country just goes to them like, yo, you're in South Africa, be specific where you are, or you're in Cape Town. And for them, it's predominantly the thing of, I've never touched African soul before.
This is my first time in the continent.
In the continent itself, you know.
So you are.
It's pretty much the same way as I would, if I'm going to Berlin, wherever, Netherlands, if I'm going that side, I'll be telling everyone, I'm going to Europe.
I'm going to Europe.
You know?
But I feel like you might be a bit more specific if you're going to go.
You can, like, I get it.
We're not in South America.
That's what I was going to say, buddy. If you're ever going to listen to this.
Did you see that?
Man, that was a bit of a slip up there.
I get you in regards to that, but also one thing, like, I remember this was like pretty much the only time I feel like I got drunk. And throughout the, like, the 7 or 8 days I was working there. And it was like past midnight, but it was like, I keep on saying that. Sabo was like, yo, we're chilling outside, you want to smoke with us? I was like, I'm not allowed to smoke with you guys. Like I'd rather go to sleep. They were like, yo, if you don't tell, no one will tell. And everyone was gone. So I was like, okay, cool. So that's right.
Well, here we are on the podcast.
It's over now.
So yeah, so he invited me out. We were chilling outside the hotel, the pretty much balcony, not lobby. So we're chilling outside, and I was like, "Yo, you want something to drink?" Got me a drink and smoked. And the interaction was basically like the misconceptions of what they know and what we know about them, and they basically don't know jack shit about us.
Yeah.
So the conception is not a misconception.
They don't know nothing. Like, they don't know what goes down. They just, it's pretty much like a blank canvas to them. As much as they have the whole idea, like the Africa is a jungle or South Africa is a jungle or whatever. That's not a thing to them at this point. They've established that that's not
gone past that. Shout out America.
That, you know. So it's more on the, but we don't know what goes down though. What's the, how can I say this?
What's the real story?
What's the real story? Like what's popping in South Africa? I know Amapiano is the biggest genre of music, but besides Amapiano, like what's the lifestyle? What's the culture? What do you guys do on a daily? Like you wake up and do what? You know. So when I explained to him my day, I was like I'm normal. Shower, go to
work harder.
I think like North Americans are very, I don't want to say self-centered, but it's definitely
you can say self-centered.
It's like, I don't know, like a bubble around North America. It's like the fact that we stay at rest with like, what?
You can say USA. It's like, let's not throw
I say North America because I'm very like cognizant that there's a South America and it's very different.
You also included Canada though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't
okay, the USA. Like we know what's happening in like USA politics.
Yeah. They force you to.
Probably, they have no idea.
Like also to some extent, we don't like, we also feel like we know, because that's something I had a conversation about. The media makes us believe we know what's going on in the country. But like the things that Saba told me, like was not even in full details, just like him talking to his friend, him interactions, like in general, I just realized like there's a lot going on that side that we don't know, you know, and that we believe we know, and with them, which is like way worse, they don't know. Like
they don't have any idea.
The best idea is like, now if they follow like a South African guy, that's when they'll see, oh, this is that, and that's the only way of knowing. Or if that part of the news are filtered enough to show them the most explicit, which will never happen, and that's what they'll know. Because they'll, I don't know the phrasing of this, but they'll never dig deeper than that, you know, because that's what you believe is the end. Like told, this is it, okay, cool. You're like, okay, cool. That person did that.
Yeah. You just explained what load shedding was in the FES.
I did. It was a quite interesting one. Yeah. But it was cool because at the hotel where we stayed, there was no load shedding. Like they did no load shedding, so it was like let's go. You know? So it was a cool one. It was an experience and a half, because there was some point where I made reservations for them for like a restaurant. I'm like, so guys, we gotta eat before, like, we gotta make a reservation for 6:30. Get there 6:30 because at 8 there's no electricity.
The power goes off. What do you mean? It just goes off.
Because I remember one time I took them to Baldwin's Bay, and then we got there, cool, watched penguins, cool, took a walk around, and coming back, we're like, yo, we wanna go to like nice chicken place. Peri chicken specifically. Okay, cool. And one of their friends was this side already, so they were like, yo, go to the restaurant so long and order for us. So as I was checking my phone on the way back, I got the load shedding. Like load shedding 55 minutes. I'm like, snap. So I tell them the load shedding is 55 minutes. Like, okay, cool, this is our friend to order everything. So browse the menu, order, sure. It was in the order. We get there, like, imagine that was 55 minutes ago. We got there, they're like, it's load shedding, so the chicken is gonna take longer. But we ordered way before, but yeah, we just ended up like waiting for like an hour, 30 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah. And we were also rushing to like get to the cable cars and like, your guys' time. I mean,
they were waiting for the parent.
They were like, nah, bro, like, I'd rather miss that.
That table belt.
And amen to those priorities. On that note, talking of performers, I'm going to do a hot swap of you, sir, and you. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us. Such a privilege. And so thank you both. And I'm going to call on two people who did perform at Rocking the Daisies.
Come back to your...
Yes, Lorcan, you would take over to that one. And then I'm going to call Lesedi and Tyler to come and sit on, join me on the couch. Come on over, homies. Thanks, guys. That was really, really nice. I don't know if anyone else enjoyed it as much as I did, but that was sick. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Part of us still going, right? So
I'm just going to put in a...
No, I know. I was just talking to Lorcan. I was just talking to
Brad is
Lesedi.
confirming the podcast while it's happening.
Yeah, but
I'm putting in a topic of conversation. So Bino said like everything like went smooth. It was like seemed like well organized. You got to the hotel. So like I've heard from South African artists they weren't aware there was a hotel. Like things didn't really go as planned. So I'd like to. I'm thinking like maybe there was like a bit of a disconnect between how internationals and like local was treated, which like I don't like a lot of that. So I just want to like know.
And then if Bino has an extra comment, there's an extra mic over there.
So in regards to that, it was predominantly based on the fact that the local artists, our local artists, they've toured like Cape Town and they've been around.
Yeah.
Predominantly all the artists who were there, they've been to Cape Town before. So having them to have a tour manager who will take them around to every is an expense, you know. Therefore, the only artists that I'd say locally that had accommodation in hotels were the ones who were not from Cape Town. Like your Aqua Waffles, your Devon Gogo, your Focalistics, and they were staying like at the same hotel at some point because I got moved to their hotel, you know. And then with the internationals, they were at their own separate hotels as well. But yeah, it was, I wouldn't say like an artist and local, if they were like from around and they expected a hotel, I'd say to some extent those kind of selfish with them. Because economically that doesn't make sense because you just live around check and take an Uber to, you know.
To where? No, I mean like a hotel during Daisies.
No, the hotel also is, number one, the local artists will have to pretty much just go back to the place or just decide to stay.
So the hotel was like quite a distance from...
The hotel is in town. They just travel. I traveled exactly 1 hour, 50 minutes almost.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, well I'm glad we cleared that
I
up.
thought it was like a Daisies hotel, like a darling.
No Daisies hotel.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we cleared that note up. So I hope you don't feel excluded from the hotel
No,
anymore.
I wanted to come.
Yeah, no, that's a good advice. Quickly, before we properly get into it, can you introduce yourself and then followed by the man you're at?
I'm Tyler Page. I'm an artist. I'm born and bred in Cape Town, and that's just literally.
And you played with Kiddo?
Oh yes, I
performed
performed
with
with Kiddo, CSA.
Lesedi.
Cool. I am Lesedi, but I go by Baby Nova.
Cute.
Thank you. And I'm a producer and multi-instrumentalist, and I played bass for Hannah on the
Amen to that. And boy, am I really glad.
Wait, Brad?
Yes.
Please stop recording.
When?
Just before they introduce themselves.
Right.
Give me a hot minute.
Well, the good thing is just
That's crazy.
Well, maybe it's still
only
like
like real downside is the bathroom's just around the corner. So like, that's not far. But I like really yes. We blood is unite. Jokes. Irish coffee, anyone? Normal coffee,
There we go.
anyone?
Okay.
Toasty,
Yeah.
anyone?
Yeah.
They're fucking good.
I'm gonna have.
Do you want a toasty on the podcast?
Yeah, I could go for that.
What do you want? There's a roast veg, vegan, with no cheese, or like a roast veg with cheese?
I give you the cheese.
Give me the cheese.
Thanks, okay, we're recording now.
We're live.
Roast veg.
Apologies for the momentary technical difficulties. I think, yeah, sorry Tyler, if you can run us through quickly just who you are and what you were doing in Daisies, real quick.
My name is Tyler Page. I'm from Cape Town, and I performed at Daisies with Kiddo and CSA.
Woo! Zed.
Cool. What's up, guys? I'm Lesedi. I go by Baby Nova, and I'm a producer and multi-instrumentalist and play bass. Bass. Yeah, I played bass for Hannah. Shout out.
You did that on purpose, hey?
Nah, well, that's how I did.
That's just my body trick, yeah.
Drop the gas, it's fine. Just move the Lesedi's mic a little bit closer to him so you can... Closer, yeah. Then it doesn't have to be as loud.
You gotta like basically make out with the microphone.
Yeah, it's... See how like intimate I am with my microphone.
I'm eating it.
Yeah, well that's the
Really
point.
weird.
That's exactly how it should be done. you both performed at Daisies. Luckily, we got to see the very end of, or we got to see you playing your song with Hannah, which I'm so glad about. Shout out to Hannah, who was very keen to be here. She's going to tell us about fucking talent and what a human being. What a just legendary human being.
So genuine.
Yeah, incredible. We love it. That performance was one of the ones that there were some communication issues around time-wise. And I'm not implicating you in having to say anything, but I'm going to voice my personal frustration with the fact that Hannah was listed on the app to play at 5 p.m. We structured our afternoon around being able to take a break between 4 and 5 to go watch Hannah, and then she was put on stage an hour early. And that wasn't communicated. I'm not going to say some of the things I do know because I don't want to implicate other people, but I know that that was unfair treatment of the artist and what was a large team on stage. Between Kay, Faith, Andre, there were dancers, you were playing, she had a full live band and dancers. And it meant that, aspects of the show that they had planned couldn't come together. And I am saying, as a completely independent individual, that I don't think that's acceptable. And that is one of the things that Daisies need to do better next year, is make sure that they're not doing that, especially to incredibly talented young local talent who had a crowd ready and waiting for 5 p.m. that most people just didn't know that she'd started, and I think that's just very disrespectful. And with love, and again, thank you for an incredible festival. Don't get me. I'm just saying, do better on that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's just not fair, and I don't think there's any argument to be made against that. So, yeah, I mean, what part did you have? Like, what did you see happen? How did that play out? And obviously, what was the impact on stage? If you are comfortable saying.
No, I can speak about it. It's cool.
Yay.
I mean, it's like, yes, you get the juice. We got there like 2:30. Yeah. So we had 5. Actually, even before the festival, I think on the Thursday I made a post like, cool, we're on Friday 4 p.m. That was actually the original time.
Okay.
And then I remember Andre messaging, he's like, lol, it's 5 p.m. And I was like, yo, bro, I already told like practically everyone I know that's 4. So rather they get there early, it's cool.
Yeah.
And then got there at 2:30, and we had troubles getting to the stage. So we got artist turns. Even that took a little bit of time, but it was clear, it was cool. And then we struggled to get to the stage with all our equipment, and ended up having to like walk through the festival. But then they were good enough on their feet to like go-kart us. Well, not go-kart, golf cart us.
That would be sick.
Actually, Daisy's taken note of that.
Yeah, another thing to do better on. Replace the golf carts with go-karts.
Let's go. And we ended up getting to the stage at like 3:15, and we're like, you know what, okay, it's a bit turbulent, but everything's good. And we're like, cool, everyone cool for 5 p.m. And they're like, oh no, you guys are on at 4. And I was like, what? And essentially because like all my performance clothes were still with Johan, the guy I was staying with, and he was like on the other side of Daisies.
Yeah, at 15 to 20 minutes.
You know, and now I had to speak to Andre, because I mean I traveled cozy. I wasn't looking I traveled. I was comfortable. You know, I was like, I can't be this cozy on stage. I didn't think that'll run. You know, like so. In that time, everyone was kind of like, okay, well, we have to get our stuff together. People, it wasn't like a panic behind stage, but you could tell that it was just like, things just aren't like clicking. Then meanwhile, I ran like, there and back, got my clothes, got changed, made it in time, which was a relief for me. And I was like, you know what, it's cool. Everyone got there, it's still super positive, which was, I think it was really good that everyone just had cool heads. It wasn't like, especially Hannah, like, it's her show, so as, I don't know, like a feature bassist or backup dancer, like, nah, this is not, if Hannah's like, nah guys, let's go on, let's kill it, you're like, cool, let's go on, let's kill it. And from there, it went without, like, any issues, to be honest. I think we went on then, gave it our best shot,
Amen. And, I mean, we like ran around the corner because Durand messaged us. He was like, yo guys, Hannah's on early.
Yeah, and the only reason why I messaged you guys is because Lorcan messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, Hannah, on now." And I was like, I turned, and I think we were watching somebody else. I turned to everybody I was with, and I'm like, but like, guys, right the fuck now, we are going. And like, I just started taking off. I didn't care who I left behind.
Like this is
it's like, yo, guys, like, and like Lorcan said, like, you guys started at 4. What? It's like 20 past 4. It's a 15-minute walk from where we were to get to the house, right?
We were in Jen camping too, and my legs, when I got to Hannah, I was like, whoa.
Because then when I rocked up, I saw you guys went there. I just assumed that you guys also got the message. I was like, oh no, I've got to be in this. So I just whacked on literally the work WhatsApp group. I was like, guys, Hannah, now this is not a drop.
Also, I was on stage.
I wasn't there like, excuses.
Well,
that should have been your response.
I was in the tent naked.
Yeah.
I put on whatever I could. I went without underwear. I mean, no bra, but that's like usual. I rocked up, and when I said hi to Hannah, I was like, well done. I was like, I'm only wearing this.
Gina ran to Heineken House in a jumpsuit, and that was it.
That's dedication.
It was panic station, and luckily we watched. We saw the last song and a half, and it was incredible, and there were dancers, and it was a vibe, and the crowd was loving it, and then Lesedi played, and it was fucking sick. And shout out to Hannah for bringing a live band to a hip hop performance, because that's just so fucking cool. It's just so cool, and more people need to do it. It's on video. Shout out to Hannah for bringing a live band to a hip hop performance. Now a really unpracticed applause. For that. What was it like making your debut at Daisies?
I mean, I still don't know how to tell people now. It's just like 1 minute I'm backstage, I'm vibing, because I only came on for like 2 songs at a time, and the first song was kind of like a background, some people didn't really see me out play. I was like, that's chill. The second song, the last song, I was like, okay, cool, like, now I'm playing.
This is my life.
But the bass line. Yeah, it's like the bass line, But the thing is, there's all the little nerves you get, like, yo, is this bass still in tune? Yo, what if I miss my cue? So all of those are running through my head. The instrumental starts playing, I'm like, okay, just make sure you don't miss it. I start playing, I don't even know what I'm playing, I'm just playing, and I look up and I'm like, dude, this is Daisies. Like, I'm on stage, like, look around, this is Rocking the Daisies. Like, do you understand what's going on? Like, I am rocking the Daisies. The bass at the Daisies, like, it was just surreal. I think it's one of those pinch me moments.
Yeah.
Like, I remember 2019 going, I was like, yo, yeah, one day it'd be cool.
Little did you know, the next one.
Just to add on that, I remember my first time coming to Cape Town, and the first thing one of my friends told me was like, you gotta go to Daisies.
Everyone's
looking at the lineup, and I was like, fuck, I gotta go. Thought I saved enough, but I couldn't afford it. That's all I was looking at.
Yeah, it's way better to get paid to be there.
So,
that's the real, finesse. That's the real finesse.
Yeah. It's like, this is my work.
So it was also, I went in 2019, I was seeing all these artists, and I was at like the crossroads with my photography. I was like, damn, one day, imagine like photographing fucking Rocking the Daisies 3 years later.
Next one. And to balance my shitting on the
No productive conversation.
I know I'm making a joke about myself. Is that thank you, and to the team who took on. I mean, this was a completely new team running Rocking the Daisies to restart that festival brand. There's no momentum. There's no incredible job. And thank you for bringing back the biggest festival in South Africa, where we can bring internationals and we can have that kind of an experience, and to put on a production that is of such an international standard, at least in my mind. A huge congratulations to them for that, because what an achievement. I mean, restarting a festival of this magnitude after 3 years is such a fucking task, and a completely new team is wow.
What's scary is that the person who was doing it was the first time kind of like running the whole show.
Oh, yeah. It's new management.
Yeah, so not necessarily like new management, but
she's sorry now.
What's nice is that it was a lady, it was a woman, you know.
Shannon, shout out Shannon for fucking
she held it down from Joburg to fucking Cape Town, from Cape Town to Joburg.
Incredible job, Shannon, and the team at Stain Entertainment as well. There's so many incredible individuals behind the scene that made it happen.
I'd like to move it in a different direction, because we heard Lesedi's experience. You know, Tyler, I would love to hear about your experiences more, because total honesty, I don't even know you played it.
No, it's fine. Literally no one did. That's fine. I'm not offended.
Even size.
Yeah, I'm not a week before, so it's fine. But my experience as a whole, or just when I performed?
Playing and performing, or even being there.
To be honest, the Saturday before Kiddo's set, I felt so bad because he has a DJ, and when they went on, his DJ had technical difficulties with his everything, like his USB wasn't reading, like there was a huge crowd from the DJ before, and then like in the space of 10 minutes everyone just left, and I was like, I feel so terrible for these people right now. My heart doesn't go. No, before it started.
When it was supposed to start, there was a big crowd. He was working and everyone.
And Kiddo was like trying to hype Eric up, like getting the crowd hyped, and everyone was just like, do it. And I was like, I feel so bad, I just wanted to cry for him. But we pulled through. But there was like 25 people there. His set was so amazing when it got to that point. And then when I performed, it was just like two worlds collided, because he's a rapper and I'm complete opposite of that. I sing. some attitude. But it was so amazing to perform. It was my third time performing. Literally in my life.
That's a good third show.
And it was my first Daisies that I went to, so really cool to see.
And because that was at the Maitland station.
Yes.
Your people don't. I mean,
I was pitting blue. My armpits were like
on times 2.
It was hot and it was hot.
So bad. And I was wearing a long sleeve and I was not having it. I was gonna faint. Saturday. That was the hottest day ever, I'm not gonna lie.
It was nuts. Saturday was nuts.
It was so hot.
That's not true.
Can I say one thing that I'm not a fan of?
Please.
So, they say that no one's allowed to bring any liquids or anything, which is understandable because people are going to sneak dope in or whatever.
Which no one did.
But when my brother went, it was like years ago. My brother's 29, so he's so old.
He's
so young.
But in his year, when he went in his matric year, they were allowed to bring water and dope as well. I don't know, it's so unfair.
You know what? I would love to actually like talk on that point, because I've been to 4 Rocking the Daisies. It was 2016, 2017, 2018, and now 2022. So the 4-year hiatus for me and Daisies, and it was. And the first time when we weren't allowed to bring in our own alcohol and fluids and liquids and everything was in 2018. So in 2016 and 17, we could still bring. But the problem that I faced, and when they first introduced it in 2018, was a lot of backlash. Like, people are like, this is absolute bullshit. It's a money-making scheme and everything. 2018, in response to people's backlash regarding that matter, because they're like, yo, we're just trying to keep you guys safe, trying to regulate what gets brought in. In 2018, they made the drinks prices close to cost price. It was 15 rand a beer. And that's how they justified that decision. And for me, all the while, I feel like it was a very good decision because, yes, former days, you can bring in your own cooler boxes, your own alcohol and everything. However, you drink that at your campsite. And the campsites were so far separated from the actual stages. And at any point you go to any stage, you were checked that you can't bring your own alcohol into the festival area, only into your camping area. And people were trying to smuggle, so you couldn't bring in even a bottle of water into the festival area. So you could only have those things in your camping area. And the movement now towards prohibiting those things and regulating what gets brought in, I feel makes it a lot more a holistic experience because now I can grab a beer from any bar. There's bars. There used to be bars there used to be one bar in the entire general camping, right? Now it's basically a bar in every camping area. You grab a beer, and then you can walk with your beer, whatever you want. You can go drink that beer at the main stage if you want, and you can carry that stuff through.
You need it as refreshment for the hike.
Yeah, so I think that going in that direction makes total sense. Yes, the prices spike, but inflation's a bitch. Boo-hoo.
No, but the prices are still.
No, the prices
are affordable, bro.
Yeah.
If we had that at Cape Town Towers in Club, oh my god, I wouldn't be broke.
The drink prices, the food prices were a bit sketchy, and I just have to say that Butlers gave a thin crust medium margarita for 90 rand. And I'm just upset. That's all I'm upset.
Do you know that my friends and I, we literally lived off of chip rolls?
Oh,
the
yeah.
entire weekend. We had such a tight budget, eh? Like, we were not. And my thing was the water, guys.
Oh, it tastes horrible. Oh my god.
It's not water.
No, the box water. They made it so difficult to get water.
My girlfriend called it. She said it tastes like milk.
One will
it actually tastes like
It was disgusting.
We are divided on water.
The most controversial thing we've talked about today is Bino water.
That really gave me nightmares.
Yeah, shout out to recycling and stuff.
Don't ask about what happened before Alex had the water. Because there is a story.
Shout out to recycling, but please next time put the water in something else.
It's 2018 that can.
Yes.
Well, everything else is in a fucking can.
Exactly. Just do can water, please.
Oh, you can't do it. It was can water.
It was the box water.
Just
It was in a cardboard box.
This is what I found funny, right? So that whole thing is pushing, and this might be a bit controversial. That whole thing was pushing the recycling thing, but at backstage they had bottled water, plastic bottled water.
Whoa.
You will vouch for me.
If I speak,
that water smuggled in.
Didn't sign an NDA.
I didn't sign it.
I didn't get my check.
just trying to eat out here.
Fair enough.
We'll hold this.
Fair enough, but you're going to make it back. Yeah, we'll keep it for a couple of weeks until everyone gets it back.
I need my check.
No, I mean, that's sure. Now, as we were talking about all of that, I had a few things that I wanted to mention that have now, of course, now it's slipped my mind. Derailed a little bit. Okay, can we talk about the sandstorm, the absolute commitment of the people at the Sun Al musician gig, at his performance?
Yeah.
Like, I looked at that performance and I was like, even before Daisies, that's a performance I really want to go to. I looked at the crowd and I saw the actual sandstorm that was whipping around whilst people were vibing, and I'm like, I'm gonna give that a miss.
When you're in it, you can't do this. Like when you're in it, you pretend.
In the eye of the storm.
In the eye of the storm. It was like a hurricane. Me and George were in it, and like we were having an amazing time. And we'd like look out, and people look like they're having the worst time of their life. It looks like the end of the world. There's like sand whipping, there's umbrellas blowing, like there's people like running like this, and they're just like
I don't know how the man managed to make it happen for his set, but clearly whatever he did worked. Tyler, you performed on the main stage, but you also were, largely a festival attendee. What was your experience of? Did you go to the Maybelline stage, the Maybelline station? Apologies. As well, like to listen. What was your favorite set on the stage other than Killers?
Max Harold.
I've heard that was an incredible set.
I'm Anne Beck.
I've also heard that was
something.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Why?
Sorry about that.
Bino's
just got all this backstage tea.
It's not backstage. It was like, it was a thing that was kind of, I think on Twitter, someone said they had a pre-recorded set.
Oh, is it?
Ooh.
Listen, I was still joking.
Controversy.
We'll chop this in the next 5 weeks. Not
couple of beers, now the NDA is getting weaker. And that's what it's all about, people. I think we're probably tight on time. Are you swapping?
No, I don't quite know batteries.
I don't know.
I want to spend batteries.
Have we tapped everyone? Yeah.
I've tapped in everyone who was actively backstage at some point or another.
Do you have any audience questions?
Yeah. Do you have any audience questions about Daisies for people who were there?
Just
and
for Rocking the Daisies.
Yes. No, Alex, get right up to it. I want to eat it. There we go.
It's not like a crazy question. Just like the beach bar, early morning vibes. Is there any like just small bands, some indie, some funk, some groovy stuff? It's just like some diversity in sense of like all the music genres would be nice. Like I just feel like there was like a little bit of a lacking with all our beautiful stages and musicians of like you could run to a few and hear the same kind of thing going on, especially like early morning, Saturday, Sunday. Just a little bit of something else would have been divine.
No, I'm throwing my hat behind that. Sorry, Drew.
No, back in my day, guys.
Okay.
Back in my day, when I was a spry youngster.
Yes, Daddy Duty.
Daisies was a 4-day festival. Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Thursday, because the campsite and the festival was so separated, the Thursday they had a campsite stage.
What?
They had a campsite stage, and it was just like local Cape Town bands like warming people up for the entire.
Bring that back. Bring it back. Bring that back. Run it back.
And the Sunday was a lot more of a mellow, like it was just main stage, and the people who played were like Desmond Matutu and Short Straw, like Sunday, like because also like for those who love live music and stuff, it was. I don't want to say lacking because there's so much like really good young talent that was on show there, but if I wanted to listen to like, I want to say like dance music is a general like EDM, trance, house, everything, like the main station was there.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Wasn't that the last time? There was only 3 stages. No, there was only 2.
There was a lot more.
Well, in 2019, there was stuff.
2019.
There was a few, like there was the Jägermeister house, but there was only the beach bar and the main stage. Those were the like.
There's also the jungle.
Shit, I'm forgetting the jungle. This year was such an upgrade from that. Like the jungle was nice, but it was kind of like hidden and like inside, and like there wasn't much in the environment. But the Heineken stage was.
Okay, Dury finished because the battery light is flashing.
Okay, yeah. So on that, like, just like And I echo Alex's statement, just a lot more diversity and a lot more genres, and in essence, there's a lot more to appeal to people, because, I mean, I'm sorry, Beach Bar didn't see me once.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Sun-El, but I couldn't, just because of the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, my last point, and this is my drop mic moment. I'm off the camera, like, listen, guys, Daisies. I'm looking in the camera right there, right? Guys, you've done it before and you can do it again. More tables, more shade. It's easy.
Okay, and on that truly mic drop moment, we're going to close out this first live recording of the CAYA